Not only is the heavily rumored Resident Evil 4 remake definitely a reality, but it's also in big trouble. But only if you fall into this very specific camp of fans. Hey, and welcome to Woodworm Game News, a show where we dissect and comment on the most relevant video game industry scoops. It was first reported in April 2020 that the third best-selling Resident Evil game, Resident Evil 4, was undergoing a makeover as Capcom had allegedly greenlit a remake akin to the recent RE2 and 3 remakes led by an Osaka-based M2 studio. Now, it is very important for the story that we first understand who this M2 studio consists of, as it will most likely influence your decision on whether to be excited or extremely worried about the RE4 remake. See, that developer studio is led by none other than Tatsuya Minami, the former Platinum Games CEO, and the company itself houses several former Platinum and Capcom employees. That's great. No? Well, it depends on whether you enjoyed RE3 Remake, as it was Tatsuya himself who led the project as the executive producer. If that worries you, I honestly can't blame you, as it seems the RE3 Remake was almost universally critiqued for strafing too far from the source material both in its mechanics, key characters, and even, length of the game. And here's where all Resident Evil 4 fans might split into multiple factions. See, as recently reported by the Video Game Chronicle, multiple sources indicate that M2 just had their role in the development process significantly reduced following a key project review which took place somewhere around the end of 2020. The reason? Disagreements over its direction. Contrary to popular belief, developers, and sometimes even publishers, aren't blind to criticism, and M2 took the RE3 remake backlash to heart, deciding that they'd faithfully stick to the original blueprint with the fourth installment of the series. This would most likely involve a remake approach similar to Shadow of the Colossus by Bluepoint, as opposed to the more recent Final Fantasy VII remake by Square Enix First Division. And guess what? Capcom wasn't on board with that idea. That's right, it was Capcom's adamant preference to make the RE4 remake more of a spiritual successor with entirely new mechanics, environments, and even story elements that led to a partial reboot of the development under the new mandate and direction led by Capcom Division 1 Studio. This essentially pushes the rebooted remake release as far as 2023 and begs the question, are we going to see any proper Resident Evil release between this year's RE Village and the RE4 remake? I guess we'll see. Also note that disputes over how Resident Evil 4 should be remade weren't ever exclusive to these teams and their publisher. For years have fans of the series argued whether RE4 really needed a remake, considering the original game aged exceptionally well and has seen some high-definition iterations in the past. I personally have a feeling this is going to be one of the more divisive Resident Evil installments, with the fans splitting into essentially 3 groups. Those who never asked for the remake and are happy with the original, then those who want a next-gen RE4 game, but want it as close to the original source as possible, and those who would rather play a fresh, modern take on the most critically acclaimed action horror title. I personally fall into the original material with the next-gen facelift category. But what about you? I'd love to hear your thoughts and arguments for either one, so please do comment them down below. If you want to have a more depth discussion, join our Discord channel, or simply come over to one of my Twitch streams every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday so we can talk about it live. This has been the Woodworm Game News, and a bit of advice. Try using knives next time. Works better for close encounters.